Okay, so how to make a needle felted dog. I take a pipe cleaner and I fold it in half, and then I cut right here, string. And then if I want to do a dog that's around 4 to 6 inches, this is my dog Sparky. If I want it to be this size, then I would leave these long and do the same steps that I'm going to show you in a second. But I'm going to be making small dogs about this size. He doesn't have eyeballs yet, but around this size. These out, I think it's 2 inches. It's between 1 and 2 inches. And I will be doing that. So I'm going to take one of these, put the other one to the side, fold it in half again. So this is basically a fourth of the pipe cleaner. And then I'm going to go ahead. I don't like the sharp ends, just in case. It seems like a little hazard in case if someone pokes themselves. The wool will be over the ends, but just in case, I like to fold down the sharp ends so that they're not pokey. And then I'm going to go ahead, so I have both of these together. I'm going to put them together and try to have them parallel and even. And I'm going to start from the center, and I'm just going to wrap one side, just twist them together till you get, I'm not sure how long these are, but I'd say maybe a 1/4 inch. Pretty small. These are going to be the legs. And I'm going to flip it and do the other side. So just depending on how long you want the back and the legs to be. So if I was doing like a dachshund, I might have a longer back and shorter legs. And then I'm going to fold the legs down. And this one's pretty long, so I might make a dachshund out of it. But yeah, that's basically the piece. And then I like to fold the legs back again flat while I do basically like what I did here. I just wrap the base around with white wool. It's a lot of wool, too much wool. I'm gonna take some off. It's always better to start with less and add more if you need to add more. I'm gonna start with quite a big chunk, but you might want to start with less if you're making your own dogs, which is up to you. I like to wrap it around, just go from each side, try to get all covered. Do it as tight as you possibly can, because otherwise it will be kind of feel like there's air in it. It's hard to explain. And then holding down that pressure so that it's still as tight as you had put it. You're just gonna felt it down. Like that. I like to do both sides, and then I'll do like the sides so everything's felted down. So just keep felting. This is coming out kind of odd. Oh, also I didn't really mention, you want to try to get the legs to be the same length. So if one of the legs is like too short. Once you got a pretty good base, this one's a little wonky, but I don't really care that much. It doesn't have to be perfect because I am going to add color at the end. Even if that color is white, I will be layering it. Okay, so now normally I choose what dog breed it's going to be beforehand. I'm not 100% sure on this. I think it's pretty long, so I think I'm going to be doing a dachshund. I think because I'm out of this specific color dachshund. It's a, what do they call it? Blue Merle, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that. And it kind of is like a grayish color, and it has a bunch of like spots on it. It's really pretty looking. So for this dachshund, I'm gonna be, so depending on the color of the legs of the dog, if it is a color that is not white, if it's something that's like this small, if it's a bigger dog like this size, you can start with white, although it's easier to start with the color you want, because it's so thin that unlike the base, which I always start with white no matter what color, it's so thin that when you stab it, sometimes the white shows through. So I like to start with the color that I'm gonna do. So for this, the dachshund I'm doing has brown legs like this one here. So I'll be wrapping in this kind of brown color on the legs. If it is a dog that has white legs, like this is going to be a husky, you cannot tell it's going to be a husky right now, but it has white legs. It does have brown on the legs, but the base of the legs are white. So I would start with and just do white on them. It just makes it easier and you don't have to backtrack as much. On the legs, depending on how thick you want them, the more wool, obviously, the more wool you put, the thicker it gets. I used to do thinner legs, but I kind of been liking the look of the thicker legs, so I'm going to start with some wool. I don't know, not too much. I can always add more if I need to. So this might not be enough. And I just kind of wrap it around as tight as I can, just on one leg at a time. I think this is pretty good. And then I'm going to stab it in. And I like to stab the end too. The goal is to get it all around so that you can't see the white of the pipe cleaner. It can take a few times to get that right. If you can't, you can always add a tiny bit and put it over the end so that you don't see the white. I forgot to mention, I would say this is intermediate kind of felting because of the pipe cleaner. I find the pipe cleaner easy to work with for making the shapes better, and so that doesn't, like, it stands up better with the pipe cleaner. But because you're using a needle that's very thin on the end, when you stab it into the pipe cleaner on accident, it can get stuck in the wire and it will snap. So you do have to be very gentle and careful. And if it does snap, it is common for me to snap them. I'd say snap a needle every, I don't know, maybe four dogs. I'll snap a needle. When I was first starting, definitely snap more needles more often. I think depending on what kind of needle you're using, it might be less likely to snap, but I find it very often it will snap on me. Anyway, I'm gonna do this and then show you the end because you don't really need to see all of it because it's kind of tedious. Okay, so it is finished. So now I pull down the leg so that it looks like, you know, a standing dog. Yeah, you can tell it definitely is pretty long. Most dogs, I like the legs, they're still pretty short because it's just the style I use. But I do the legs a little bit longer and the back a little shorter. So this is definitely a good size for a dachshund. As you can see, it's pretty skinny. So I'm gonna go ahead and add more wool. I like to keep it a little bit skinny while I'm doing the legs, otherwise they don't fit as well. But it's totally up to you if that's what you want to do. So I'm gonna take some wool, it's probably too much. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start from one side to the other, wrap, and try to make it as even as possible. I just felt that in. So that is felted in. It's pretty good size-wise. I don't want it too thick because I do have to add a layer of color. I don't know why I'm picking up and showing you dogs. I don't even know if you can see this. But so now I'm gonna work on the head. So the head, I have a few balls already ready. So you want it to be, you know, a decent size, not too big, not too small. Lately, I don't know why, but I've been making the heads bigger and bigger. I think it looks cute, but if you want more accurate to the body size, then you would probably want to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to take a nice chunk of wool, and then what I like to do is I fold it in on itself and get it really tight, and then I roll it to the end. And this might not be enough wool, but as I go, it will kind of loosen a little bit once I start felting. I try to hold it in as much as possible. If you don't get it tight enough, it won't work as well. Tina is a fun craft, but it definitely takes a long time. To do with the head is I will, as you can see, it's pretty circular, but not completely. I like to roll it in my hands. That helps it a little bit more. And then I'll felt a little bit more. Just till the wool is nice and shaped and pretty firm, but not too firm. I've made a mistake where I always thought that it had to be like rock hard, and you don't want it that hard. I did that and it took forever to make. It was a huge dog. I'll have to show at one point, not right now. And it was so hard and condensed that I could hardly felt the color onto it because I was doing the white base. And it was not good. It turned out cute though. Anyway, so now you have to connect the head. So you have to decide which side you want it on. Which side do you like the front legs better? I think I'm gonna do this side. I don't know why, I'm just liking it. So to be able to connect the head, I like to take a little bit of wool, not too much, maybe a little bit more than that. Kind of roll it in your hand so that it gets into a little like disc shape. I don't know what you call it. Put it down where you're gonna put the head and stab it down in the center of that wool, just enough so it's stuck. Then I like to take the head, choose which side you want the bottom of the head to be. That's gonna be like part of the neck, sort of. And then just stab all around in a circle. All the way around, basically you're stabbing the ball into the body. Oops. And you can leave this for now because you're gonna do something with it in a second. Leave like the extra. Once it's pretty well stabbed, maybe like go around 2 or 3 times. Then I like to take this wool at the top and stab it into the ball. A little bit of into the ball and into the base. And just kind of stab so that you can't see it anymore. And now I'm done. Now you can see there's no neck. So how do I get the neck? I take some wool. This time a little bit more than that. Okay, this part, it's not hard, but it's tricky to get it right. I like to pull the head up a little bit, not too much. I take this and I wrap it around. Don't do it too tight, but you know, get it in there and wrap around. If you push too tight, the neck's gonna be like really long, which you don't want. And then I stab that down. Basically, I'm stabbing into a neck. And then after you stab it into a neck, I'm gonna get it pretty firm because this is like the end part of this piece. And then I like to stab it into the base just to make sure all of that is not coming off. And as you can see, his head's pretty long, so I like to stab into the head so the neck's not as long, and also so to make sure that the head's not gonna come off. And I just do that a little bit more. If your neck is too long, either you're gonna have to redo it, or just keep stabbing like halfway down and just stab down until your neck's a little shorter. If it's too long, that's not gonna work. But if it's a little bit long, you might be able to get it. I'm gonna pull these out again. So your dog looks like he's doing the splits. Kind of. And I'm gonna start with the back legs. I'm gonna take a bit of wool. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get it into that sort of disc-ish shape. And I'm just gonna stab it in. This is how I make it so that he has like a little, I don't know my parts of the dog body apparently. I thought I did. It's just so that, you know, the thicker part of the dog leg. I think it's the knees there. I have to look up the dog body. Anyway. You kind of do that, felt it in to the base, into the legs, so that it's nice and thick right there. And then I like to take some more wool, a good amount. The back legs, I put a little more, and then the front legs, we're going to do in a second, and I put a little less. If you're doing another color, some dogs will be like a white base, and then they'll have another color just on the knee, and then you can fix it with more coloring at the end to really define whatever color it is. You can do that too. Okay, so now we're doing, I think these are the elbows. I need a little bit more wool. So I use a little bit less wool on the elbows just because it's not as bulky. Just stab it in. The other one on the other side. And this dog is coming along. The smaller dogs are a lot quicker to make. Larger, not as much. But since I'm going to do spots on this, it's going to take a while. I'll probably edit out some of these slower bits because it might be more. Okay, so now that's finished. As you can see, it's a little more bulky compared to this, which if you like this look, go ahead and do that. It looks like stick legs. It's fine, but I like it looking like I wouldn't say realistic, but you know, a little bit more than before. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the muzzle, and all dogs have different size muzzles. So if you're doing a smaller muzzle or a smaller dog, you can use less wool. This, I think dachshunds have pretty. See, I have a dachshund right here. He's kind of fluffy right now. You can see he's pretty long. He has a pretty long muzzle, so I'm gonna do a little bit extra than I would do on some dogs. So I'm gonna take some more white wool, even if your dog has a black or brown muzzle. If it's black, white might show, so you don't have to do, you can do whatever color you want. But I'm gonna do white, even though it's gonna be, I think it's a gray and brown muzzle. But I'm gonna do the base white. I'm gonna wrap it into a kind of, I can't really show you, otherwise I'll let it fall apart. But into this little, like, it's almost a rectangle, but not with sharp edges. Can't think of my shapes, like cylinder-ish? Not really. And I just felt it down. Sometimes I make the muzzles too big. Hopefully I did not do this time. And then I just felt it down until it's pretty thick. I like to leave one in pretty fluffy and not really felt it down at all. That will be attached, so just felt down part of the muzzle. And then since some of it will be round, you want it to flatten it down a little bit. So felt into it on all sides. Okay, so now it's pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and take it, and because I left it fluffy, I'm not gonna do what I did with the head to attach. I'm just gonna go ahead and attach it like this. If you did not, I would put a little bit of wool, extra wool. And then you just felt it into the head where you want it to be. And just keep felting. If it is really long, like this is really long, I like to felt from kind of the center of the muzzle into the head so that it kind of shortens itself. If it's really long, you'll have to restart it though. So sometimes I mess up. It's just what it's like felting, especially when you're making so many different dog breeds. Each one is so different than the last. But I think it's a pretty good size. It's a little bit long, but when I put some of the colors, it will felt in a little more dense. Okay, so now that's done. It doesn't look like much, does it? Now it's time for color. Okay, so I'll probably insert a photo so that you can see what these dogs look like if you don't already know. I'm gonna be doing a short hair. There are long hair and short hair dachshunds, but I don't want to do long hair. I'm too lazy. Long hair takes longer. I'll have to show a video on how you do that too. So I'm gonna start with the tail. Put that aside. I'm gonna take a good chunk of wool and fold it in half. Just felt in. I have a little bit extra on the bottom, so I'm just gonna do that. Like I did with the muzzle, I'm gonna leave just one in not felted so that I can attach it to the body. This is the only thing that I don't usually like wrap it really tight. I don't know why I don't do that, but you're welcome to if you want to. I feel like the tails are just a little more floppy, so I don't try as hard. Felt until it's skinnier. These have pretty thin tails, so I'm gonna make it as thin as I can make it without making it like, you know, fall apart or something. I like to stab in the end just a little bit just to make sure that the wool is not going to fray and come apart. Okay, it's pretty good. It is a good length. I like to do it like around the length of, I don't know, the leg, just like maybe double the leg. And then I put it at the back, on the back, and just stab it. Okay, so now I do this because I'm worried that someone's gonna mishandle it, which they could rip off pieces like the ears if they really tried. But I like to really make sure that it's not gonna fall off on its own. So I like to put a little bit of wool on the end and felt into it, just keep that side of it in place. And I like to do it on the other side as well. And I'm gonna be adding gray to this anyway, so I'm gonna put quite a bit just to make it easier. Also, you'll notice that I'm not wearing thimbles. If you have a tendency to stab yourself with a needle, I suggest you wear a thimble. I did that when I started, and it was definitely a big help because stabbing yourself really hurts. I don't stab myself as much, so now I just push the tail down to make it not stick right up. If you want it to be like all the way down, you can go ahead and felt it into the wool to kind of keep it down more. I don't really care that it's kind of in the air. It makes them like look like a confident dog. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just do the color. So I'm gonna start with the gray because I already got the brown legs. I'm gonna do the belly. So what I do is I do the base color and then I'll add all the details. Notice that I haven't done the ears yet. I'm saving those for one of the last steps because I like to have all of it covered so that it doesn't look like it has missing color underneath the ears. If I was doing up ears, I'd probably do them now. But because I'm doing floppy ears, I'll do it after I add all of the color. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the camera and just finish it so that you don't have to be bored watching. Now you can see it is all felted in. I left the muzzle white so that you can see the next step that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to probably go ahead and do the brown underneath the muzzle, and then I'll add this color, some brown, and I'm just going to go ahead and layer it underneath. It does have, these dachshunds do have a little bit on the neck, so I'm going to put some on the neck too. Let's see if I grab enough for this. As you can see, I did around the muzzle, I did a bit on the neck, just a tiny bit. And now I'm going to add gray on the top of the muzzle. I like to lean it against the edge because the dog's legs are in the way. It makes it a little harder. You can like fold the legs, but I think it's easier just to hold them over the edge of the felting mat. So now the whole body is covered. I don't see any white spots at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the details. So I'm going to start with the legs. On these dogs, they actually have some gray on the leg. It's pretty much the same as this other than the spots. It will have brown where this black is, like going down the front. And then, so I'm looking at photos of these dogs. I actually think I was supposed to do a little gray on this side. I probably should have done that instead of the brown, but it's okay. I'll just add a little. So I just want to put a little on the top, and it's going to be like this triangle-ish shape. Not really triangle. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Just like almost to the bottom of the leg, but not quite. So you leave a little foot that is brown. Front legs have this gray, and the back legs have it kind of on the back of the dog. Okay, so now we have that finished, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the back legs. Okay, so basically on the back legs, I'm gonna go ahead and felt like a little less into the leg right here, so that there's lots of brown around this triangle thing. And then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap a bit of gray around the back, just part way. Now I'm gonna do the other side. Because we're already in the back of the body, and I already have it propped up and everything, I'm gonna go ahead. They have a little brown spot where the butt is. So I like to add that for extra detail, even though nobody probably even looks down there. Okay, as you can see, sometimes white spots appear as you're felting, which that happens because, you know, the base is white, so sometimes things move around a little bit. So I'm gonna stab some gray wool into that area so you can't see that. Okay, so now I should have done a bit of wool for the elbow. I probably should have done it gray, but I did not, so that's okay. I'm just gonna add a little bit of gray on top of the elbow here. So now the dog's legs are done, the back end's done, and so I think I will start with the ears now.